Bold journalism.
But Drew Hernandez is a strong-minded individual.
Exposing lawlessness.
Drew Hernandez, who is ideological.
Finding the truth.
And use the word Antifa.
This is what they do.
Battling
They're
mainstream
liars. The woke mob, all they can do is lie.
These are the front lines.
Abel Garcia, man. I've been wanting to talk to you for a while, brother. We had Chloe Cole on last week, and obviously her story is incredible. It's heartbreaking. It's empowering. It's bold to see a young girl like that standing up against these doctrines of demons and these, in my opinion, these Satanists that want children to be mutilated, and they are unapologetic about it. But I also wanted to hear your story as well, because, I mean, these stories are so powerful, and I just want to reiterate again to the viewers is we don't do this for a narrative. We don't do it because it fits our narrative and it fights the left, you know, or whatever. No, these are crimes against humanity. And in my personal opinion, when you are convincing part of the public to botch their own bodies and manipulating young kids to do that and their parents, that has to be exposed, whether left or right. Abel, thank you for joining me on the front lines, man.
Well, thank you for having me here, Drew.
I truly appreciate it. So let's dive straight into your story. Introduce yourself to the viewers, your background, your story. What's the story of Abel?
All right, welcome back. Welcome, guys. My name is Abel Garcia. So, I originally started my medical transition in December. No, wait, no. Hold on. November 2016 is when I officially medically transitioned, but I came out to my mother in December of 2015. Prior to that, I figured out what the word transgender was. I'd say probably middle school, high school, late middle school, early high school is probably when I found out what it was. Mm-hmm. But and that's what planted the seed of doubt in my mind for who I was as a young man. But before that, my parents came here illegally. So it's just me and my parents, and my father, due to his status as a migrant at the time, he was always working nonstop. I didn't get a lot of time to spend with him, so I didn't have a male role model in my family, and I've always just been an odd kid, is the best way I can explain it, because I was very introverted, and I'm Hispanic, so our culture is very machismo, as you would understand how it is. Yeah. So I didn't fit into it.
Very macho, very manly for everyone that doesn't know.
Yeah, so being a very shy kid, and
yeah.
I didn't fit the stereotypes, and I don't think I would have for a while. And since I've done everything and I've learned into more of this, I don't know, just because I haven't been formally tested, but I feel I might be autistic, just with a lot of other detransition I've said. So. But I'm too scared to get tested, just because, I'm going to be honest, I'm a little nervous and I don't trust doctors anymore.
I don't blame you, you know. Well, let's kind of dig into that whole, process that led you to that transitioning process. How do you believe that began? Like you said, in middle school, high school, what were the factors that kind of led to that? Was it social media? Was it things you were hearing, from these loud voices that are just wanting everyone to become trans and this and that, all the, the LGBTQ mafia that just wants everyone to, be like them. And the moment you step out of line, they destroy and cancel you. What was kind of like that initial factor that started to really get you on that path?
So for me, I actually found out what it was on YouTube. I don't recall exactly what the video was, but it was something about transgender related. It made sense to me at the time. I don't know how or why. But unlike your guest last week, I actually wasn't really on social media. I was a very introverted kid. I hated social media. I hated attention, which is surprising because I am now on Frontline News with Drew Hernandez, powered by Turning Point USA.
Yeah.
Which, like I said, it's surprising. Introverted kid now on the news, I guess. But yeah, no, I hated social media. I didn't really like it. All I had at the time was YouTube and Facebook, so I could play Facebook games. You're probably as old as I am, or a bit older, so you understand what I'm trying to say. But no, social media didn't influence me at all. It was just my own thoughts, because I've always been a kid who always thinks too much. So I think it was just my overthoughts and being bit different, I guess. It's the best way I can say it.
So when you at that age, middle school, high school, you're having thoughts of questioning your identity sexually, or what was going on in your head during that time that kind of started to lead you to like just make a full transition and like, I guess this is what I am.
So it goes back to what I was saying. I didn't have my father in my picture because he was always working nonstop. First few years he was in the fields. Eventually got a job as a truck driver, and he was gone 5-6 days a week. And when he was home, he'd always be sleeping. So didn't get to spend much time with him. So I didn't get to build a bond with my father. And when we did, it was always some type of yelling match. So I just never really was the most masculine kid growing up. I always doubted myself, and I just think too much to myself. So I think I just convinced myself, honestly, if I'm not good enough to be a man, for some reason my mind thought I must have been a woman.
And that just kind of led you down that path, and then you found a community that just basically embraced that thinking, and you could basically become popular overnight over that. I don't know if that was your thinking, but did you just find community in that when you started thinking that way, and it was like a confirmation, like, hey, there's a group of people here that accept my thinking?
So when I was doing all this, when I found the YouTube video, this wasn't as popular as it is now. But when I finally decided to make the choice, it was still somewhat small, the groups and all that, but it was never for the affirmation and everything. Obviously, the moment I did say, yes, I'm a transgender woman, I got love bombed, I got support and everything by everyone and anyone who wanted to affirm me as a woman.
So what were the steps you took when you're on YouTube, you're seeing videos, you're questioning this in your own head, and you're coming to this conclusion like, okay, I guess I'm a trans woman. What was the steps that you took to start to make that happen? Did you change your clothes? Did you eventually go through surgeries, puberty blockers, all that? Or what was that process for you?
So for me, it's actually a little different. I actually didn't transition until I was an adult. When I found out what it was, I just pushed that to the back of my mind. I didn't really think about it. It wasn't until after I got out of high school and I thought, okay, what do I want for the rest of my life? Because I was going to college, I wasn't working, and I was like, there's nothing to do in my life. So, and this is something I had been thinking about for a while. So it's like, is this who I really am? Is this what I really want? So I had sought help, and they had referred me to the LGBT Center in Southern California. And the first session I go with a therapist who is a lesbian woman. As soon as I told her, I think I might be transgender and I want your help, she immediately affirmed me as a transgender woman. She said, yes, I'm a woman. I'm a trans woman. And she had my letter to transition right away with...
So just right off the bat?
Yes.
Like you just said, I think.
Yes.
Boom, stamp right over your forehead.
Yep.
You're one, I guess.
That is correct.
Incredible. Continue.
Yeah, so she said she had my letter to transition for hormones right away. And when I was a bit struck by that because I was thinking, that's a medical professional. I was like, we should probably check other things. But at the same time, my thinking was, well, she's a professional. She probably sees a lot of people.
So you trusted her?
Yes, because obviously with my Hispanic background, I was like, I didn't have a reason not to trust a medical professional. Now I don't trust most of them.
I don't blame you.
And so I took her word, but I didn't accept the hormones that day. I told her I honestly want time to take a break. I want to make sure everything is what I want. But she affirmed me. And the thing that actually struck me and still sticks to my mind up to this day is when I asked her why did she affirm me so quickly, she said she did not want to gatekeep me.
What does she mean by that? Or what do you think she meant by that?
She didn't want to do her job, and I think she just wanted to send me on the path to destroy my body, whether she believes that or not. Because gatekeeping, from what I've heard, is just doing your bloody job. You just make sure every other avenue is checked before you send someone like myself, your guest last week, on a path of being a lifetime patient to these drug companies, these surgeons, and everyone and anyone in between.
Let me ask you your opinion, okay? Your opinion. This medical healthcare professional, because I mean, like we talked about, Matt Walsh has uncovered, like they're saying these are moneymakers, they're lifetime patients. Do you think that these people are being instructed to just, hey, someone walks in and thinks that they're the opposite gender, oh, let's get them a patient, we get thousands of dollars, just get them in. Do you think that's possibly happening? Just your opinion.
Honestly, yeah. Just because from what I've seen, and I've actually interacted with your last week's guest, and I've had the opportunity to speak to a lot of other detransitioners, and that's what it seems to me, that these people don't really care about us. That as soon as anyone questions who they are, immediately transgender, and well, now we see a blank check on these people.
It's interesting. So does that seem to be like, because like I was talking to Chloe last week, and she's saying, you know, a good thing out of all of this is there are a lot of detransitioners that are coming out and saying, hey, because they have nowhere to go. Would you say that's a common thread that you guys are seeing, that in your story when you went in to question, like, hey, I might be transgender, just immediately, boom, that stamp was thrown on you, and okay, let's just go through with the whole puberty blocker process. Let's just throw you into the whole process. Is that like a common thread that you guys are seeing in all these stories of detransitioners, that they just threw us into this like nothing?
Yeah,
immediately.
From the ones I've spoken with, I don't think anyone has ever gotten any pushback from when they went to see if this was for them. From everyone, it's just immediate affirmation, and obviously the current model right now is affirm only.
It's money. It's got to be money. I know the viewers, that's exactly what they're thinking. It's nothing. It's the same thing with abortion. It's all about the money, and they're willing to use human beings to stack their own wealth, and even children. Let me ask you this, all right? Because fellow Hispanic here, how did your family react to this when you were like full blown, I'm a trans woman, I'm gonna go, seek help and start going through the process? Being in a Hispanic family, it's got to be a little different, the reaction. Or how was it? I don't know. I'm curious.
So overall, no one really liked it, but as family, they supported me. My mom, obviously, she cried. My grandparents, who I had the opportunity to speak with, when I sat down and said, "Hey, so what are your thoughts on what I did to myself?" And my grandmother responded with, "I was praying for you every night since you told us all those years, when you told your mother all those years ago, and we've all been praying every single day." Now, I came out in December of 2015, and to them, I didn't realize my mistake until December of 2020. But I actually realized my mistake in, what was it? I'd say August to September, maybe October 2018 is when I actually realized my mistake. So for me, I actually realized my mistake in advance, but I did not have the guts to tell my family I made a mistake. Now, the worst reaction I ever got, and I'm going to try to keep it a little PG, was my father. So after he found out, I do not know how he found out, and to this day, he will not tell me. But to make a long story short, after he found out, he took me to Mexico, took me under false pretense that he needed a driver just in case he could not go and drive because he was getting some work done on his mouth. After everything, which was true, that's what he did, but after everything was over, he took me to a brothel. I didn't realize what it was until I was inside, and I couldn't back out at that moment. I'll let the viewers use their imaginations, but I was with a brothel, and I was only worth $100. And the thing that stuck out to my mind that day, and I'm going to say in Spanish, I'll translate it to the viewers, was what my father told the woman. He told her, "Cuídalo bien, es su primera vez. Take good care of him, it's his first time." And I was actually hurt by that because, well, my father's supposed to be protecting me, yet he's making me sleep with a woman against my will in Mexico.
That's got to be hard, man.
Well, I don't like what he did. We've communicated about that. We've rebuilt the relationship. He's admitted he made a mistake, and I didn't realize it until after I've detransitioned. But that was actually what was the breaking point for me to transition. Actually, because obviously I would say, sexually abused, or however you want to call it, by my father and, well, a prostitute. And after that, I didn't want to, because prior to that, I only was thinking about transition, even though my therapist at the time was, yes, you're obviously a woman. It was just thoughts then, but after that incident, it's like, nope, going head first for this insanity. I was hoping it could help me, but no, it didn't help me.
You know, the father figure is extremely important. And do you think that your dad, I'm just thinking as like a Mexican, right? Like, do you think, and I'm not saying it's right, I'm just saying, do you think your dad was just like, this is how to make my son not gay?
I would assume so.
I'm guessing.
I think he just wanted me to. I've had a few chats with him, and I get very little from him, but it's more of he wanted me to be a man, and if I slept with a woman, that would have probably, in his thoughts, made me realize, yeah, I'm what God made me, a man, and I'm definitely not a woman. And obviously, being with a woman would have definitely solved it. Well, he was wrong.
Well, man, I'm sorry that happened to you, man. You know, this is just part of all the downward spiral of darkness and twistedness that all this world brings because of that stuff. And you know, your family now, I mean, your mom, your other family, your surrounding family, how are they reacting to you now that you've come out and you're like, hey, I made a mistake? Because I know how Hispanic families are, man. It's just like they hold everything against you.
Yeah.
And is it kind of like you just wasted our time?
So
What's going on with you? How has been the reaction from your family kind of detransitioning now?
So they're all happy that I've left that lifestyle, that I'm no longer doing that. I'm no longer destroying my body. But to their knowledge, I'm just living a normal life, just working a 9-to-5 job, and I'm not doing anything else besides that. And I've moved from California to Texas, about 1,200, 1,300 miles away from them. I'm just living a peaceful life. That's to their knowledge. They don't know that I am out here publicly speaking as a detransitioner, trying to help others. The only one who is aware is my father, and he wants me to stop talking about what I've done to myself, to put it in the past, to just live a quiet life. And I've told my dad a million times, Dad, I would love to do that. I hate being, well, I love being here with you, Drew, but I hate being and talking to the world and being vulnerable. It's like, hey, my father hurt me. Medical providers failed me. And now I'm over here damaged beyond repair. And I would just love to be having a quiet life, just working my 9-to-5 job in Texas. But unfortunately, with what I'm seeing online with other medical professionals, with medical communities, with activists, with even our own federal government promoting this insanity, especially on children like Chloe, I can't just stand around doing nothing when I've been hurt by this and I have the opportunity to speak.
You know, I commend you, man. Like I told Chloe, I'm proud of you. What your father did to you is wrong. What, like you said, the federal government, these medical healthcare professionals, what they've done to you guys is wrong and it's evil. And like I told Chloe, you know, we love you. God loves you. We're here for you as much as we possibly can. Turning Point USA. And I can't communicate anything other to you than how much, you know, God the Father does care about you. You're fearfully and wonderfully made. And we don't have to manipulate our bodies. We don't have to, you know, really kind of just psychologically mess ourselves up to be accepted that way. And I just, you know, I wanted to ask you is like, like the community right now, those that are watching that might support and they're like, yeah, I'm glad that, you know, he sees the light. Have you been seeing that kind of love coming from people when you're kind of like coming out
So
to detransition now?
a lot of people support me for what I'm doing and the fact that I've realized that I made a mistake. And unfortunately, I do get a lot of people who hate me because they say, "Oh, I'm stupid, I'm an idiot, I'm moronic," and use other colorful language and say, "I deserve what I did. I made my bed, so sleeping." It's like, you're right. Yeah, I deserve what happens to me, but at the same time, I was a vulnerable kid.
Yeah.
Oh, technically an adult by the time I did it because I was 19. But it's like nowadays, young adults are acting like children. Like I was coddled by my parents, my mother. They didn't really let me do much growing up. My father was absent. What do you want me to do? Especially being Hispanic, like, and our culture's odd. I guess it's the best way I can explain it. And one thing I realized when speaking with others, because I realized that I'm the only Hispanic detransitioner, and I get a lot of Hispanics reach out to me. It's like, hey, there's no one else I can speak to. You're the only one. Can you help us? And one thing I realized that stuck out with me was a mother in Texas. She told me that when I was speaking with her, one thing that struck out to her and me was with her children, which are first-generation Americans, and them being Hispanic. There's an identity issue with first-generation Hispanics living in America, which I think probably also played a part in why I wanted to do all this.
Interesting. You know, I think Hispanics in America are waking up to a lot right now, especially Hispanics post-2020 being the largest non-white voting bloc in this country. I think voices like yours are extremely important right now. Not for the sake of a vote or whatever, but because we have entities out there, both left and right, that simply want to control groups of people because of their skin color. The thing that I care about, Abel, and I care about for you is the truth. The truth of everything going on in your heart, the truth of everything going on in your mind and in your life, and you finding the truth as a human being on this planet. Do you find yourself right now in a better place than you were, I don't know, maybe a year ago or 5 years ago?
Oh, definitely. I'm doing way better now. Last year, I was stuck in California, doing really much nothing, honestly. Just working a boring 9-to-5 job. And now I'm over here a year later, having the opportunity to speak and tell people, hey, medical professionals lied to me, they hurt me, and now it's being sanctioned by the government. Like, in a year, I'm proud for all the hard work I've been able to do myself.
Absolutely. Well, guys, you know, we're going to continue this conversation tomorrow night. We're going to get more into the backlash, okay? These so-called leftists and allies that claim to care so much about everyone and inclusivity and, you know, liberalism and all that, and everyone should just be accepting and tolerant of everyone. But the moment you fall out of line, you get destroyed. We're going to dig deep into that. But before we go, Abel, if they can't make it tomorrow night, where can people follow you, your content, and any projects you have going on?
Sure. So right now you can find me on YouTube at Abel Garcia. Twitter and Instagram are both official Abel G. And projects, there are some stuff in the works, but I can't say anything publicly as everything's still in early stages. But
all good. Make sure to go follow him now, and the moment those get released, you will be first to know about it. My name is Drew Hernandez. These are the Front Lines. I'll see you guys tomorrow night.
We must play offense. Game on.
You expect the rest of the world to live in La La Land. We're not.
We've been saying these things from day one.
Our solemn vow to you, be good, be brief, be gone.
You might find yourself changing your opinion on things you've never even thought twice about. That really sets America apart.
You are not ready for season 2. This is Reloaded.
My life, tale, and my truth has been to fight socialism.
Are you familiar with structural racism?
Yeah, it's a myth.